Hello, everyone, and thanks for tuning in to PWD Allies podcast. My name is Brent Frain. I'm the host, and joining me is Neil Matheson from Surrey, British Columbia. Hi, Neil. Good morning.
Hello, morning.
And I'm coming to you from Victoria, British Columbia, the capital region, not too far from the BC legislature, a couple bus rides away, not too long. Maybe if I decide to stroll down there on a nice wintry day. It's not snowing. We haven't had any snow this year here, so I don't know. It looks like it might be a green Christmas. Well, I don't know. I
I'll
mean,
have a green Christmas without you.
oh, I got some festive pillows behind me here. Kind of brightens up the day. Snow usually brightens things up too when it gets really
There you
bright.
go.
And, yeah, but
Yeah.
hey, so I guess kind of with that theme, we're gonna talk about the 12 days of podcast guests.
That's right. Yeah, like for this episode, we're going to focus on primarily the all of the really wonderful guests that we had. Mostly like the VIP guests, a lot of the politicians, but also like some of the lived experience, and we'll get through the list.
Yeah.
Because I wanted to divide up we've got two episodes, like so we have this episode, and then we'll have the last episode. It's also a pre-record, but that one will be all about basically the PWD Allies panelists. And the disability community at large. We wanted to celebrate that for the last episode. So this one is just going through the kind of a top 12 list of the best guests for 2025. So it's a very highly curated list, and kind of my personal picks. And I think your picks are going to be in there too, Brent.
Yes, they are.
Hopefully.
Yeah, they are. They are.
Yeah, I think it's a good list. It's a good cross section. So yeah, let's start off the list. So basically, again, this list is a curated list, and it's basically must watch or must see podcasts. So if you're gonna pick any podcast to watch from our massive list of 250 episodes now.
Choose from.
these are the ones to check out. So the first one was of the year for 2025. Again, this is only for 25 this year, season 3. The first one on the list is the first episode of the year.
Drum roll.
And that it was actually the first episode of the year, January 3rd, and we had Chad Herridge on. And I tell you, and he's from Newfoundland. And I tell you, I love Chad Herridge. He was on year 2, season 2, and it was the most wonderful experience having him on the first time. And I thought to myself, like, I want to get him on again. And I was so happy and it was just, it was great to have him on as the first guest. And what a way to kick off the year. He's just like, his energy is amazing. I just love the guy. Yeah,
A lot of good positive vibes from
just
Herridge. Yeah,
really fun episode.
Yeah.
Really good energy. Anyway, we'll throw to this clip, and so he's talking about there's this new Newfoundland disability benefit, and it rolled out. Coincidentally, it rolled out around July of this year as well, just like the Canada Disability Benefit. So I remember one of the questions I asked him was, is it just a rebranded Canada Disability Benefit? And he said, no, it's a separate thing. But on this clip, you're going to see that one of the cool things about this benefit is something we always talk about is it going to be tied to individual income, or is it going to be household income? And on this clip we're going to play, you're going to hear. So anyway, we'll just roll the clip.
Yeah.
If every province, I'm not bragging about our province or nothing, but I mean, if every
you can though.
Sure, why not?
If every province followed the footsteps and gave everybody an extra $400, and then if they were able to manage to get the other two,
Mm-hmm.
600.
I mean, we're halfway to our goal
Exactly.
we're asking for.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, $600 up is better than $600 down.
Exactly.
Yeah,
Yep.
you pass that little line, yeah, you just, that's like
Right?
that one step forward.
And I mean, if they're going to give you a $1,200 payment on your retirement disability savings plan, I know you can't access that now, but I mean, it's good for later down the road.
Mm.
If you got a kid, it's good for them. If you don't make it to them, it's passed on to them
Yeah.
as your beneficiary.
Yeah.
So, and the big thing to me is the individual income.
That's
Oh,
huge.
huge.
That's huge.
That's a big one.
That's
Really
a huge one. Yeah. Yeah.
Because if it was tied to family income, I wouldn't get it.
Let's roll on to the second must-watch episode.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
And it happened in episode 4. And guess who it was, Brent?
Gosh.
Cheryl Hardcastle.
Well, go.
January 17.
Yep.
And in the clip we're gonna show, she's talking about Justin Trudeau proroguing the government, the federal government, and you make the comment, you ask her, you said, is the prorogue of the government going to affect the Canada Disability Benefit?
Yeah.
And then we're going to hear her response. And then just before we run to the clip, I did want to mention that Cheryl was on for 4 episodes this year. She was the high guest meter, or what do you want to say? She was on for 4 episodes this year, which is great. She was also on for our 200th episode celebration. So she was on for the 200th episode celebration, and she was on for the 250. And so that all together she was on for 4 episodes. And if you got any more comments before we roll the clip there, Brent?
I'll definitely throw it in there, just for our viewers and our listeners to know who Cheryl Hardcastle is. Cheryl Hardcastle was actually our very first guest on PWD Allies podcast. Actually, way back when we first started the show, it was the Canadians with Disabilities and their Allies.
That's right.
And so we, over time, we basically blended the show down to PWD Allies podcast because the people with disabilities, there's no border. So, any border, any country. I mean, so everybody is welcome. It's inclusive, right?
Well, plus it was a mouthful. Just to type it out. Canadians with disabilities in there. Just to type it out. So it
was a lot of work. And, having Cheryl on that, again, all our guests that we're going to be going through, very energetic, very positive vibes. Yeah. But having Cheryl Hardcastle on as just the prominent guest on, we just sit back and we just let Cheryl.
Yeah, that's what I love. I love her for that. Yeah. We have her on, and we almost get to be the guests. Yeah. On our own podcast. We just we just have the popcorn and sit there eating the popcorn. and she takes control. And I love that. I love that.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly.
So let's roll the clip.
Okay. Yeah, Cheryl. When it comes to the Canada Disability Benefit, the regulations, how will that work when a new administration comes in?
Yeah.
I've been hearing a lot of people fearing of, it'll just get postponed even further. Yeah.
That was one good thing we celebrated when that became law. That's law now. So the prorogue doesn't affect it.
Okay.
So that administrative work is being done. Okay, to get this going.
Mm-hmm.
To get going and keep moving on until I believe it kicks in July of this year.
Yeah.
Right? Kicks in. The problem is that these are the what's a distraction and what's a real issue for us. Okay.
Yeah.
So if this is coming in July 2025, and we know with its vast shortcomings, we're getting this, right? So that's what we need to push as individuals, as groups, advocacy groups. That's what we push. How are you going to improve this? How are you going to address these problems with the Canada Disability Benefit that have been identified?
So here we have the third one, Brent, is episode 18. And episode 18 was Tamara Taggart.
Oh, yes.
And the thing I like about Tamara, and she's still heavily involved in media. Of course, she was a media personality, still heavily involved in media. She's got her own podcast, but she's also what was it called? The director of Down Syndrome BC.
Yes, right.
And so she's very passionate about that. She has an 18-year-old son with Down syndrome, and so she's a very, very passionate advocate that doesn't mince words at all, and she's a pit bull. She's a pit bull. And,
she is.
And I say that very affectionately, she's a pit bull, and we love her for it.
Mm-hmm.
And on this clip, we had her on to talk about Florence Gerard, and people in BC will know that Florence Gerard was a woman that also had Down syndrome, and she was basically starved to death. Yeah. This was a court case back in 2018. She was starved to death by her care aide. Basically got abused by her care aide, was malnourished and starved to death under the care of an individual, and the case was reopened. And anyway, so the majority of the episode, Tamara talks about that, but then, as you'll see in the clip, she ends off basically talking about her son, because that's her son is who's of course who she knows, and she talks about the white elephant in the room. So we can throw the clip about that.
Sounds good.
My son, the elephant in the room is my son is not supposed to be here, right? Yeah. The elephant in the room is when, the majority of people who find out they are carrying a baby with Down syndrome, I think it's like 90-something% of people. I think it's 90% maybe. I don't know. Maybe the numbers have changed. I have no idea. Let's say it's 90%. I know it's 90-something, so we'll go with 90. 90% of people that find out they are carrying a baby with Down syndrome terminate the pregnancy. Now, I believe in a woman's right to choose to do whatever she wants to do with her body, and I'm not judging that part of it. But what I am judging is the fear we have around disability. What I am judging is the ableism that is entrenched in government, and the discrimination towards people with disability that is entrenched in our society and government, that you don't matter if you have a disability because you probably don't vote, you don't work, you just want to get free money. And I don't know. I honestly don't know what they think that someone's going to do with $1,400 a month in this province, right? I don't know. And God forbid you should get married and they claw back, or God forbid you should get a job and try to get out of poverty, because they'll claw that all back too.
Yeah,
and it comes down to, I'm telling you, it comes down to discrimination. It comes down to, somebody like my son, and I keep coming back to my son because this is the experience that I know. And because of Down Syndrome BC, I talk to hundreds of families who have a child, or a sibling, or a grandchild, or a niece, or a nephew, or a friend with Down syndrome. And the experience is universal. It's a visible disability. When you have a visible disability, you are judged the second you walk through the door.
Absolutely.
And there's always a conversation, then we have people who have an invisible disability, and it's just terrible for them too, because there's these expectations of who they are should be, and
Mhm.
then when somebody finds out they aren't, then they're you know what I mean? It's like
Yeah.
it's crap right across the board.
Well, yeah.
And
And
you
it's like
don't,
when
it
somebody has
goes back, Brent, to they think that you want to get rich.
oh
They
yeah,
think you
Yeah.
just want to sit on your couch
yeah.
and collect your $1,400 a month
Mhm.
and never have a care in the world. Well, I mean, come on.
Let's go to our fourth must-watch episode, Brent, and that happened episode 19. So you can see a lot of really
Yeah.
big episodes right early in the year. So episode 19, we had Sean Towgood on,
Oh yes.
and he's an actor from
Very
Toronto,
Mhm.
and he's got cerebral palsy,
Mhm.
like I do, and he was the star and writer and producer of You're My Hero, which airs on CBC Gem. And why I included this one, well, kind of two reasons, is because he's got cerebral palsy just like me, so bros got to stick together kind of thing. So that was one reason, but the biggest reason why I included this one is because it was really the first time, and we're going to see this again later on the list, but this is the first time that I had somebody reach out to me. Like, you know how, like, I'm always the one that, and you're reaching out to guests all the time too, but it's always me or you. Like, we're always like reaching out and bugging guests, like, or trying to get people on. And it was the first time that I actually had somebody reach out to me and basically said, "Hey, would you like?" I think it was it was Sean Towgood's agent. He says, "Would you like to have Sean Towgood on the show?" And so here you have somebody reaching out to me saying, "Would you like to have a guest on?" And so that was one cool thing.
Yeah.
So like less work for me and less work for you.
Yeah.
And the other cool thing was it's the first time that that we had somebody give us a press kit. An actual press kit. It was all, they gave us all the press photos of all the cast photos and stuff, and they gave us a pre-release copy of the full season 2. So I watched the whole season 2. Like, I think it was like not maybe 6 months. I think it was like 3 or 4 months before anybody else did. So it was really cool. So I sat down and watched the whole thing, and nobody else got to see it. So we got to see it early. It was great. So that's why it made the list for me for kind of selfish reasons, because like I said, I have cerebral palsy, and Sean Towgood does as well, but also just because it represented the first time that we had somebody else reach out rather than it's you or me doing it, Brent.
Yeah, especially an actor,
Yeah.
a producer. I mean, like, wow, it was just amazed. We had him joining on, and definitely, again. I mean, all the guests that we're going through right now. We'd love to have you all join back on in 26.
These are all really good guests, and they're all significant for different reasons.
Yeah.
And like I said, one of the big reasons why this was significant and why I included it was just because he represented the first guest where I didn't have to chase anybody down. They're like, "Hey, would you like to have Sean Towgood on?" I'm like, "Yeah."
Yeah, it's like Tag, you're it.
Yeah. So it was great. And
so let's roll that clip.
Yeah, and I'm gonna roll the clip, and and on the clip, we talk about using humor as a coping mechanism when you have a disability. So let's roll the clip.
Yeah.
And I think it's a good one. So yeah.
If I didn't want to, hate how inaccessible the world was, hate how difficult my life truly is on a daily basis, the only way to get through that is using humor.
Yeah, you have to laugh at it. You have to laugh at it, or else you'd be crying the whole time. Yeah.
Yeah.
There is that I'm okay, guys. I I can make fun of myself. Like, I'm not gonna be broken. You
Yeah.
know, I'm not fragile. And so I think that's why we put that out front. So I think you're absolutely right there.
Yeah. What are we up to now, Brent? I have to count. We're up to episode 5 on the list, and again, we're going to go up to 12 here. Episode 5 it was episode 36 for the year for this year 2020-25, and it was Rowan Burdge.
Oh yes.
And Rowan Burdge is the director of BC Poverty Reduction Coalition, and we had her on April 7th, and she was last on. The first time she was on was back in year 1, and that was in 2023. So she's the director of BC Poverty Reduction Coalition, and basically on the clip you're just going to hear her. It's near the beginning, and I just want to include that clip because it basically. She basically explains what she does, like or what the BC Poverty Reduction Coalition does, and they do a lot. So
absolutely.
Yeah, they do a lot of great work.
You know, and Rowan talks about obviously about raising rates, and but you'll get the picture of what she's talking about on it. I mean, there was one key thing that Rowan we'll be talking about is she does mention about the spousal cap.
She does. Anyway, let's roll the clip.
Yeah.
I'm the provincial director of the BC Poverty Reduction Coalition. And for those that don't know, the coalition is made up of about 85, 90 organizations across BC that come together to do anti-poverty work under a bigger umbrella. So we look towards more systemic, upstream policy approaches to poverty reduction and eradication. Ideally, we want to get rid of poverty, not just reduce it. And the past couple of years have been extremely busy for the coalition, and I'm sure unsurprising to anyone who's seeing sort of the social conditions happening around us. But our biggest sort of last push was around the provincial election to do a little bit more awareness around a few different campaign areas. One is raise the rates, always top of mind for us, really important. Another was a dignified transit system for everybody. So ensuring that, hoping that low income people can access free transit, and seniors, and, sort of focusing on some of the equity deserving groups first, but with the ultimate goal that folks would have free transit in British Columbia. And we see that as a public service and a public good. The third piece was around housing. We all know that there's a huge housing crisis in BC, and that, that is causing many, many problems, including deep levels of poverty. And so that's kind of the third focus area we've been having. So we did a lot of mobilizing around the provincial election, doing a lot of going to town halls, putting out materials. We had a big postcard campaign around poverty reduction goals that we presented, hundreds of them to the minister. And then, starting in 2025, we have a few, going to continue on with the campaign work. Definitely housing as a human right is top of mind for us right now. And then the new poverty reduction plan, which I'm sure we'll get into, coming out last year, there was a couple of key pieces in there that we're hoping to kind of move forward around. Removing the spousal cap is one that
that's a big one.
Yeah.
Next on the list, Brent, is Maayan Ziv. Maayan Ziv.
Yes.
And she showed up for episode 36 in 2025. And that was all about Access Fest in Toronto. And Access Fest is basically a celebration of accessibility and inclusion, a big festival there. One of the features of our podcast, it's kind of a tradition, is we have closing comments. We always have closing comments at the end of every episode, and we always say it's like the mic drop moment, for the guest.
Maayan thought that Neil was in Toronto.
Oh yeah, well, and actually, Brent, like we just talked about Sean Towgood. Well, Maayan is the second guest where, again, I didn't reach out to her; she reached out to me.
Right.
So again,
I remember
another reason why I included her is just because here's another instance. So there's two instances this year. It was Sean Towgood and Maayan Ziv. They both reached out to me. I didn't have to reach out to them. They both reached out to me.
Amazing.
emailing me saying, "Can I come on?" And it's like, yes.
Yeah,
you know, so great. I loved it. Yeah.
Again, just sit back and watch the reel on this one, and enjoy.
Yeah, it's her mic drop moment. Let's listen.
Yeah.
The reason that Access Fest exists is really to create a platform for every message and every community member to raise awareness about the things that they care about. Yeah. So we have people showing up to raise awareness about built environment, about housing, about media representation, about air travel. It's a platform for all of these conversations. And my ultimate goal is that we can create a very wide network of folks that are passionate enough to show up and raise their voice.
Coming up now, Brent, we have episode 42. We have Mike Morrice. When Mike Morrice came on June 9th, he also came on December 5th. But I'm running a clip from his first appearance, which is in June 9th. And that was just before the rollout of the Canada's Disability Benefit.
Yes.
So he talks about that. So it was
benefit. Yes.
So it's interesting to go back to that first time he was on back in June, and see kind of where things were in June before the rollout, and see things where they are now, and see how little has changed. Let's throw to the.
Now let's take a look at this.
Let's have Mike have the last word.
Yeah. I guess my question is, what are your plans, Mike? Like, where are you at these days, and like community events, and what do you see yourself going forward? Do you see yourself running again at all, or?
I like that you get right to it, Brent. I guess to start, I wanted to share the last 11 times I was with you both. I feel like in every case, you both helped strengthen my advocacy, because it meant I wasn't only hearing from folks with disabilities in my community, but through you both and online, through social media. That connection is, for me, just so important, because I had hoped the whole way through to make sure when I was speaking, that amendment to index the disability benefit to inflation, that came from the community. And so I really appreciate you both for helping keep me closely connected. I didn't realize it was 11 times, but all throughout that, to me, I remember the first time, it was right as we were working on that first petition. I think it was late 2021, early 2022. But all the way through, both at home in my community and in spaces like this one with you both, I feel like you helped keep me connected to what you were experiencing. And I'd like to, hopefully we get a chance to talk a bit today about some of what I have been hearing, and I'm sure you both might want to share about with respect to the disability benefit today. But I feel like you both really helped keep me connected to the community, which in my opinion had me as a stronger MP when I could go to Parliament and, reiterate what I'd heard from you both and from other folks with disabilities across the country. To answer your question, Brent, about what comes next, I wish I had a clearer answer for you at this point. What I can commit to is that I'm going to continue to be putting my time and energy towards making the biggest difference I can in issues that matter to my community. And of course, poverty is one of those issues. Since the election, nothing has gotten any better yet for folks with disabilities living in legislated poverty in Kitchener or in other parts of the country. And so that work continues. The question for my family and I now is, where could I best put my time and energy to have the greatest impact possible, to do the most good? That was my interest when I was an MP, do as much good as you can for as long as you can. And it remains my interest now as I sort through where I could put my energies.
Next on the list here, Brent, is episode 44. And it had the thumbnail "Give Me Shelter" on it. And it was Breanna Bandet. And
great guest.
We have to say that she is is a loyal supporter of our podcast because she's actually she enrolled in the membership. We have the memberships on the channel, and she's enrolled. She's an official member of PWD Allies podcast, the YouTube channel. So we're very grateful for that. But not only that, her episode was really, really good.
She nailed it.
As you're going to see in the episode, she talks about the fact that she has an RGI unit, which is rent geared to income. So she feels very fortunate and blessed to have that, she says. Yeah. You hear that in the clip. But then she also talks about emergency shelter spaces and how, with emergency shelter spaces, there's actually so many people with disabilities, like in wheelchairs or crutches or whatever, that are having to use these emergency shelter spaces. And I mean, just to hear Breanna talk about that, it's kind of this raw, honest, emotional plea. Like you could just hear the passion the passion in her voice when she's talking about it. Anyway, we'll let her talk about it. And we'll throw to the clip.
Okay.
Basically, I feel very, very lucky to have gotten my housing. I am on PWD and I have subsidized housing. So with that, I feel that I can get by all right. Like it is all right. But I know most people don't have subsidized housing. And at the current rate for PWD, it's just not enough for people to afford market rent. So many end up homeless, and then there aren't even adequate shelters for people, so they're left extremely unsafe. And many people have lost their lives that way. So that's why I feel so strongly about this issue. There is money. They have money that is going towards building more subsidized rental units, affordable housing for people. But that will take years and years. So then they also have what they call emergency shelters. But with that system, I think most of them, from what I understand, people are expected to come every day at a certain time and line up to try and get a shelter mat. But then often they aren't enough for everybody. So there are some vulnerable people, a lot, who are people with disabilities who are left outside all night long, totally unsafe. And I have friends who are living that right now, and just the things they've told me, the danger of their lives is just unacceptable. And they've been assaulted, they've been robbed, like regularly this happens, and it's just not all right. So basically what I've been kind of advocating for, and what my opinion is that I see there's a need for, is more kind of like a live at style shelter that's kind of more like a hostel, where everybody has a bed that they can keep, and so they can go there whenever they need to rest, and a locker where they can lock up their belongings, because they don't even have lockers at the current shelters. Just basically more dignity for everyone who is experiencing hardships in their lives, PWD or welfare. Just they need more support all around.
So this one, Brent, is episode 46, and it was all about high market rents. Something that you're very passionate about, Brent. But I wanted to say our guest was Daigle, and Daigle happens to be really good friends with Breanna Bandet. And I have to say that we originally were going to have, we talked about having them both on at the same time. Breanna and Eve on at the same time. And then kind of last minute, they changed and said, well, I think maybe it's better if we come on individually. So that's what they did. I kind of thought of those two as kind of one united episode of a part 1 and part 2. So
But
that's
it stood out, though.
that's
Yeah.
kind of where I cheated on the list a little bit, Brent.
Yeah, let's sit back and listen to our guest talk about this topic.
Well, you know what, Brent? We did have Eve Daigle to talk about high market rents, but in this clip, Eve actually talks about MAiD. So it's kind of, and it was kind of a natural, flowing conversation. You know how MAiD kind of always enters into the equation somehow. It was a very very raw moment. You're gonna hear that in the clip, and I included this kind of, it's basically Eve is talking about her own experience with MAiD. She talks about her own experience with MAiD. So again, very, very raw and honest, but it ends on such a hopeful note. It ends on such a hopeful and happy note. And I just wanted to include that. That I matched the two together so you can see that she's talking about something that's very raw and honest, like MAiD sucks, right? And basically that's her opinion too, is that MAiD sucks. And so she ends the show. They have a clip of her, and it's such a hopeful end to the clip. So I wanted to include that too.
Yeah, so let's take a listen.
Yeah, okay.
Last year, I had a really rough time. There's been a lot of bad things going on in my family with like their health and diagnoses.
Yeah.
I went into the hospital trying to seek mental health support, trying to get support.
Yeah.
I was I was actively suicidal, and I went in and chatted with the doctor. One of the first things the doctor said after sharing that my family members were sick and dying of cancer, they said, "Oh, would you like the MAiD form?"
Oh, wow.
Oh,
wow.
Because I explained that I have disabilities and I haven't been able to find work because employers don't want to accommodate. And what if you do research into grooming and entrapment, this is what they're doing, is entrapping and grooming. They're trying to entrap disabled people to make them feel so hopeless and feel like the only choice is to do that because there's no other way out.
Life's too short, and so that's the mic drop of today's show. Life's not too short, so be happy, be humble, and reach out to for help if you need it.
Life's worth living, not doing MAiD. Yeah.
Exactly.
Yes.
Yes.
Cheers.
We need each other.
There.
Yeah. Cheers.
Yeah.
Thank
Thanks,
you
everyone.
so much. I'll see you later.
Okay.
Aw.
The next clip, Brent, we're gonna throw to is episode 63, and guess who it is? We had Rob Shaw on September 29th. We love Rob Shaw.
Rob was a hard get to get.
Yeah, I was so happy that he came on.
Yeah.
And the clip that we're gonna have him on, he ends up closing the show for us.
That was just a masterpiece. I tell you,
I loved it.
I love that masterpiece ending.
Yeah,
But,
he does the outro, so we're gonna throw to that in a second.
Yeah.
But I did want to talk a couple things first. One of the things that we talked about during his appearance, the advocacy piece, the disability advocacy piece, we talked about Charlie Pollock.
Yes.
And the 10-year-old girl with Batten's disease. The provincial government here originally wasn't going to fund the medication. They just wanted this girl to die, and so I mean, all of social media really grabbed onto this story, locked on, and Rob Shaw was one of them. And bless his heart, he locked on hard on that one. And so that, we wanted to have him on to talk about that, and he did, which was great. And I also wanted to do a shout out to Elena Lawson. Elena Lawson was on, last time she was on was last year, season 2, and I think she was also on in season 1, if I recall as well.
She was.
She has 2 sons with autism, and she happens to be really good friends with the mother, Jory Fales. Jory Fales is the mother of Charlie Pollock. So Elena Lawson put together a pizza fundraiser to raise funds when they thought that the government wasn't going to pay for the medication, and so you had Elena Lawson. Again, she wasn't on for a podcast episode, but you had her as a Breaking with Brent episode.
Yeah, I did. And ironically, I had made my way down to downtown Victoria because I knew that she was doing, Elena Lawson was doing a fundraiser for Charlie Pollock. I tell you, the pizza shop was just amazing. The proceeds that they made for the sales of pizza that day, it went to go and help Jory's daughter. It was so amazing. It was just that community spirit of just knowing that the proceeds were going to help a little girl to it's battling a terrible disease. I mean, there's no easy way of saying it. It's a terrible, terrible disease, but knowing that the community came together, not government.
When the government didn't want to, the
government didn't want
together.
to. The community had to pull together because the community believed in the little girl to help to make her life just a little bit better, to sustain her well-being while she's on this earth. All right. Bat disease, it's a deteriorating condition. Things don't get better, but if you can make the person with that condition, make their life just a little bit more comfortable and make it or as comfortable as possible, shall we say?
Because we have to say she's the only girl in all of BC that has this disease, and so it seemed very cruel for the provincial government to take the step. I mean, yes, the medication is expensive. I get that.
Yes,
but again, like as a Christian man myself, like. It shouldn't be government's role to say we're going to stand in place of God and we're going to decide who lives and dies in this province. It doesn't seem right somehow to me personally. Let's turn the focus back to Rob Shaw because we are kind of celebrating his episode because it was amazing really amazing get to get him. So again, we did talk a lot about Charlie Pollock, but you asked him, "Can you please close out the show? Do an outro for the show."
Yeah.
So this clip
you gotta watch this
is Rob Shaw doing the outro for the show, and I loved it. So let's throw to the clip.
Yeah. Take it.
What can I do to what do you want me to do to sort of say goodbye on?
You've been watching the PWD Allies podcast.
All right.
Yeah.
All right. Okay, we'll do that for everyone who's watching. We will say thank you so much for being here. Thank you for tuning in every week to the PWD Allies podcast, for your support, for helping us with our advocacy each and every week. And we will be back next week with more guests, with more advocacy, with more sexy advocacy, as Neil would say, here on the PWD Allies podcast. Thanks for watching.
That was awesome. Bye, everyone.
That's all.
Sexy advocacy.
Yeah.
There you go.
Yeah.
For the next clip, Brent, we have episode 83, which is Dan Davies. And
lovely guest.
I love him because he's one of those truthers, like
so genuine. He's just right down to earth. He
Yeah.
just says what it is.
Yeah, I'm a big truther person. I consider myself a big truther person, and you can tell that Dan too. He's one of those politicians that he got into the politics for the right reasons. You can just tell, and he wears his heart on his sleeve, and he's always honest to a fault all the time. And anyway, so we had him on. He hadn't been on the show for like a year,
Mhm.
right? And so we wanted to get him on again, and it was great to reconnect with him. And anyway, this I will say the last time we had him on, it was July 2024, and we talked. I talked about the Schrodinger's cat.
Oh, yes,
Is the cat alive or dead in the box?
Yeah.
You know, and that's how a lot of the
Not
the provincial policies are written, right, for the people with disabilities. Anyway, so that was in 2024. We had him on last, and so we had him on again. And you'll see on this clip, he talks about the failing economy here in BC, and he talks about it being all David Eby's fault.
Yeah. So take a listen, everybody, and then we'll go into the next clip.
Yeah.
To me, I say this all rests with David Eby.
Yeah.
Just the simple fact that, the state of affairs in the province, it's a trickle-down effect. Our economy is dead. The economy in British Columbia is crap, quite frankly.
Yeah.
I can use other harsh words, but I'll leave it with that for a family-friendly podcast.
Right.
Our economy is crap. And as a result of a crappy economy, the trickle-down effect is everything else starts to fail.
Yeah.
Bottom line. And this isn't just British. You can look at any country, any jurisdiction around the world. When your economy starts crumbling, everything else just falls apart.
Yeah.
And my God, guys, there is no reason for our economy to be crumbling.
I know.
As British Columbians, we are so blessed with the natural resources we have. The access to ocean.
Oh, I know.
And this is one thing where, it's important. We're talking Danielle Smith's pipeline, and I don't disagree with it. We got to understand Canada's we're a confederation, right? We all belong to Canada, and we all need to work together. The ocean, the Pacific Ocean access or the Atlantic Ocean access isn't up to a province.
Yeah.
That is to the benefit of Canada. And no one should be able to say you can't have access to our ocean because
it belongs to me.
It does not belong to me. It belongs to Canada. Meaning it belongs to Alberta, Saskatchewan, Manitoba, Ontario, and you name it.
Exactly.
It belongs to all of us for economic benefit.
Okay, the next clip coming up, Brent, is another huge get, episode 84. So we're almost up to 88 episodes. We're up to 84 here now, Brent. It's Elenore Sturko, and she was a huge get. I pursued her for a little over a year, and we finally got her on the podcast. It was great. Really loved having her on. And as you're going to see in the clip, this was back on December 12th she came on. And she's a former police officer, and she talks about decriminalization and how BC has always had a kind of a de facto decriminalization. But it was the David Eby policy that kind of he doubled down on it a little bit too hard. And I think everybody knows how everything's kind of gone off the rails. Anyway, she talks about this decriminalization on the clip.
Before we ever had the decrim pilot, we kind of had a de facto decriminalization because people weren't actually getting charged for simple possession anyway. And I was a police officer at the time, right up until I got elected as a politician, and we were seeing people on the street or, talking to people on the street, or if they were involved in an investigation, we weren't charging them if they had personal use drugs anyhow. But one of the things that doing that and moving away from that form of accountability was that people then stopped going to drug treatment court as well. And so we took away any, kind of programming that really helped people be held accountable if they were involved in behaviors that were criminal or broke the social contract.
Drum roll, Brent. We have now reached day 12
Day 12.
And on day 12, I kind of cheated again, Brent.
Oh,
I hate to say I kind of cheated again. Well, not I mean, we're talking about 12, the 12 podcast guests, right? Well, this episode 86 had 2 guests.
Oh,
but you know how sometimes the sum is greater than the individual parts.
yes.
In this case, again, the sum is better than the individual parts. So I always think of these guys as kind of one person.
Oh yeah.
So on episode 86, we had Michael Prince and Shane Simpson, the dynamic duo we call them.
The dynamic duo, yeah.
And you're gonna see that reference in the clip here.
Oh,
And
yeah.
it's right at the beginning of the episode, and I just wanted to show them both at the beginning of the episode having a good laugh. But it was a great episode.
Always lovely to have them joining me again is Shane Simpson and Michael Prince. How are you doing, gentlemen?
Hey, good, Brett. Good to see you.
Yeah, good to see you too.
We call you two the dynamic duo.
The dynamic duo.
The dynamic duo returns. Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know how dynamic we are for a couple of old guys.
We're a duo.
Yeah.
Having them on as guests as a dynamic duo, loving to having them on. Last time that we had Michael Prince on, though, we had Neil Belanger.
That's
on.
right, from BCANs or BCANs.
Yeah.
And I just wanted to get back to Shane Simpson as well, like just to be like completely transparent and honest.
Mm-hmm.
Like I sent him a fair share of angry emails, very passionate emails about the clawback, the PWD clawback. And so he got to hear my brunt a lot as when he was minister, but I was always trying to just focus on only the policy. And of course, like I'm human, I'm going to get angry and maybe throw darts at the person sometimes. And that's not cool. No. And but
it's about the policies.
But I just have to say that it's water under the bridge, and that's one thing that I really respect Shane Simpson about, because he gets it. He understands the passion. He understands the anger. Like I said, sometimes it's not fair to throw darts at the politicians and the MLAs or the MPs, but he understands where that passion comes from. And why it gets directed that way or misdirected that way sometimes.
He understands the frustration. Like, he understands the hurt that the policies that are in place that is so entrenched in. And I think that the ministers, they try to do the best they can. And I'm not on here to defend the ministers, because I know some people say, oh, for God's sake, Brent, you're defending the ministers. I mean, I'm saying it's the policies, everybody. Mm-hmm. It's the policies. The ministers are trying to tweak things to how they can, but the policies, somehow they have to be changed. So
it's the pink unicorns, Brent. It's the pink unicorns.
It's the pink unicorns that are so entrenched in there. The government loves the pink unicorns.
Pink unicorn farts.
The pink unicorn farts.
Pink unicorn farts.
Unicorn farts party.
Yeah. Anyway, we got to the end of the episode, Brent. So that's the 12 days of podcast guests. But if you actually look at the list with the discerning eye, you'll notice that there was actually 14 guests.
14.
And the 12 guests. But don't look too critically at my math.
No. 12 plus 1 and then plus 1. 14.
There you go. Well, let's remember though too. This is the second to last episode.
Right.
Our last episode will be the what do we call it? The Christmas Memories.
The Christmas Memories is the next podcast.
And that's a special one because we're inviting a couple of PWD panelists on, and I'm not gonna give it away. It's a secret until they roll out. But yeah, it's gonna be a great episode. So So tune in for that one. And just wish everybody a Merry Christmas, Happy Hanukkah, Happy New Year.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, exactly. And I echo Neil just mentioned. It's all the best to you. Like I say, season's greetings, Merry Christmas, Happy New Year, Happy Hanukkah. However you celebrate the season, all the best to you.
The last podcast, we're going to go 88 miles an hour, Brent.
We are going to go 88 miles an hour.
We're going to hit 88.
And when we do, you're going to see some serious podcasts.
Cheers, everyone.
Take care.